Hi friends, welcome back to Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. So today is video 2 of my term 1 reviews or update videos. So my last video, I went over what we are doing in our morning basket. So it is sort of the beginning of our day, what we do when we begin our group time as a family. And today I'm going to be covering our family subjects or group work, the things that we do together as a family after our morning basket type stuff. So if you want to know what we do at the beginning of this time, you'll want to go watch my last video called Homeschool Morning Basket Update. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you what we do together as a family. And this is something that we do usually around 3 times a week. So I have a Monday and a Wednesday where I'm out of the house with my oldest daughter goes to a alternative school in a town about 30 minutes away. And so I take my 6th and 7th grader with me and we do homeschool on the road and then at a library. So I have group work that I do with just my 2 boys during those days. And so I have already made the video, but it is the one that's coming up next. In that video, I'm going to talk about my boys, so my 6th and 7th graders, independent work, as well as the group work that I do with just my boys. Today, I'm going to talk about the things that we do on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday when I have the whole family together. So my 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grader together. We spend about 2 hours between our morning basket time and then this group work. And so I'm just going to show you what we're doing and how that's going for us so far this year. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is something that I try to do daily whenever possible, and that is this. Now, this is not the original cover. This is the cover that my daughter made for me, but it is Master Books Beginning Spanish for Families. We are about a year and a few months into using this. This is an online program, but then it comes with PDF downloads. And so here is my teacher key and then all the PDFs that I photocopied for myself. And then my kids have their own book with the PDF downloads, the activities that they're doing along with the program. We really enjoy this. I'm trying to get it done as soon as possible because I think we have it until maybe beginning of February. We were only doing it like twice a week last year. And if you do it at that pace, you can't finish it in a whole year. We have a year and a half. So trying to finish up as much as we can in here. So this is something I do 3 times a week whenever possible. Now, only 3 of my kids are doing this. My 6th, 7th, and 9th grader are doing this because my 8th grader, she is doing Mandarin Chinese, and I gave her the option of joining us for this or not, and she decided not to. So I do this at the end of our group time, and so I'll just dismiss her and she'll go do her work, and we do a lesson in Spanish. And like I said, we've really enjoyed it. The videos are usually about 15 to 20 minutes. And sometimes we'll watch a video and then we'll do the PDF thing next week, or we'll watch the video and do the PDF activity. Just depends. So each lesson takes us 1 to 2 days to finish. And really, I just spend a maximum of 20 minutes on Spanish each day. So I'm going to cover these subjects in order of maybe how long we've been doing it. So the first few that you'll see, you probably have seen before if you've been here a while. The first thing we do is Guest Hollow's High School Geography and Cultures curriculum. We started this is our 3rd year working on this. The first year we did the first maybe 8 lessons. So we did like basic geography skills, and then we covered North America, and then we ran out of time. And then the next year I sort of divided up my boys and my girls. So my girls were doing the online, they have an online textbook and workbook. So they were doing that on their own. And then the boys are just joining us for some things that I read during our geography time. And then they're all doing readers and stuff about different countries and cultures that we are working on. So we do a mix of Guest Hollow's High School Geography and Cultures, as well as we were working on Sunlight F. And I just kind of mashed those 2 curriculums together. And so our group time is mostly Guest Hollow's suggested books, but then the readers and the read-alouds are often Sunlight's readers and read-alouds. So I hope that makes sense. The first year I did this, I had everyone doing the online textbook together. So I would read it and we would watch the videos and they would answer the questions in their workbooks together. But then last year I separated. So the girls are doing the online textbook and the workbook, and we are just doing some of the books from here. And that is how we've been doing it last year, and we're doing this year as well. So I really, really like this course, and I'm easily going to spend more years working on this. There is a section that we still haven't done yet, even when I finish this year. This year, I'm planning on finishing up the Eastern Hemisphere with my girls and giving them a high school credit for that. But then I do want to go back with my boys at some point and finish up South America and Europe. We never did those sections. So I want to do that. I'm not sure if we'll continue to do that as a group family subject or if I will just do that with my boys. But that's something we'll probably tackle next year. But basically, we will have gotten about 4 years of geography out of this curriculum. And I'm also debating redoing it with my boys when they're in high school, because we really have only done a little bit of the workbook with them. So there are things that we could do in the future with this curriculum as well. So I really love how adaptable and how rich this curriculum is. Okay, so I have a few books here to show you. These are books that we sort of rotate through. This is a guest hollow week. So this is just one side of it. And then they have the other side has a whole bunch of, well, actually, this has 2 more pages here, activities and videos. But we generally are doing these main books here. That's what we do together as a group. I go through and I circle how many readings there are. So I make little circles and then I just rotate through these books. So I might read about 3 of these books each time we sit down to do geography together. Takes us about 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, not a long time. But these are the books that I'm going through. So we have Prisoners of Geography, Our World Explained in Maps. I'm going to try not to spend too much time on this since you've probably seen all of these. We have Hungry Planet. So basically what different families eat in a week around the world. So you can see how different countries live. We have Material World. This is all the belongings that people own in different parts of the world. They basically take a picture of them outside of their home with all of their personal belongings and then just stories about their life. We have A World of Wildlife. This is a gorgeous book I picked up at Barnes and Nobles. It was on sale for $20. I have Where on Earth Atlas. So we've been getting a lot of use out of these books here. And I will list all of these books in the description box below, as well as links to any curriculum that I'm using. And then this Smithsonian People and Places, a visual encyclopedia. When there was an option, I generally went with the middle school version, and I find that that has been a really good balance. It works really well for both my middle schoolers and my high schoolers. Our upcoming read aloud, I talked about this in my morning basket, is going to be It's Trevor Noah, Born a Crime. This is the adapted for young readers. This was a guest hollow suggestion as well. And so my kids were interested in it, so we're going to get started on that. So far, we've read 1 chapter, and I would say pre-read the 1 chapter at the beginning. I'm not sure if I'm going to like this book or not. It is very critical of, I would say, a little bit critical of Christianity and churches and stuff. And so I would say pre-read the 1st chapter so far. Pre-read the 1st chapter and make sure you're comfortable with that before you start reading this out loud. I'm going to keep reading it to my kids. I'm thinking that it is going to have some valuable information. So I'm going to see how things go. Hopefully I won't have to put this book down, but at this point, I'm just kind of proceeding with caution, let's just say, with this book. So the next group work thing that we have been doing for a long time, probably about the same amount of time, we probably started it at the same time, is Guest Hollow's Junior Anatomy. We have really enjoyed this. I purposely did not finish it last year because I found out that we had to do health every year with our parent partnership program. And so I was like, well, I don't want to get something new. I like what we're doing. I'm just going to slow this down and stop doing. I basically stopped at the end of last year so I could have some stuff to do this year for my kids for health. So these are like the main spines of this. So we have Blood and Guts. So we've read most of this at this point. I'm not sure if we have any more to read in here. We're getting close to the end of this guide. We have the body book, Easy to Make Models That Teach. We just did like the skin model. So this is nice. We are not a super hands-on activity family, but this forces me to do it once in a while. So I have liked that. So every 2 or 3 weeks, we might have something to do in here. So we've made skeletons. We've done the layering of the skin. We've done the cornea and the eye and the eardrum and all those sorts of things. So that has been really good. I put this away so I can't find it, but we've also been reading the Usborne 100 Things to Know About the Human Body. Just finished that off, so we're not using that anymore. And then there's just a few books that Guest Hollow will always be suggesting as you go through. It's Disgusting and We Ate It. This is one that I started reading and it is silly and funny, but I decided I didn't want to read anymore. So I read like a little tiny bit and then I'm like, okay, so if you're interested in this gross food stuff, I didn't want to spend more of our class time together on it. I just put it in our morning basket so that the boys could read it, basically. We are finishing up The Exciting Endocrine System. So just a book on the endocrine system, obviously. So that's what that is like. I did read that out loud to my kids. We have Achoo, the most interesting book you'll ever read about germs. This one has been really interesting. We just started it, but it's going to take us maybe about 6 sessions. I'll read about 6 pages each time. Just interesting information. I think the kids are really enjoying this one. And we are going to read, and I'm very excited about this. I've seen it in so many homeschool videos and stuff. Pasture's Fight Against Microbes. Super short little book, but I'm excited about reading that. Probably take about 2 sessions to get through that book. And those are just some examples of the suggested books that they have in here. So that is Guest Hollow's Junior Anatomy for Our Health. Next, about halfway through last year, we started Living Harmonies. So this is our music appreciation group work. We are going through this based on the countries that we are studying. So it has 3 terms. So here we have flamenco, jazz, and tarab, which is what we're doing right now because we're studying Africa. So I did not do this in order. I'm just jumping around. We have Gamalean, Armenian, Hagoku, and Appalachian music. And so we'll probably be going to this Appalachian music afterwards because it's European and African sort of mixed roots. So we'll probably do that next. And then we have musical theater, Cambia, and Scandinavian folk. And so I will go through the things that we are not touching on after I finish the ones that go along with where we are studying. I believe that Living Harmonies just came out with a volume 2, so I'm not sure what is in Living Harmonies number 2. We have enjoyed this. This is called volume 1. We have enjoyed it, but I don't think we'll pick up the next one just because I feel like we've covered a lot of different musical styles and we like to take breaks from things. So that has been a really fun addition. But also, as my time with all my kids is getting shorter and shorter as they are getting older, as they are moving on to their own things, I need to be very careful about what I'm adding to our group stuff. And so we'll probably finish this off, and I don't think we'll move on to the next one, not right away anyways. So I think we will be done this pretty easily by the end of the year, maybe by the end of term 2. Yeah, we'll see. And when I say term 2, I like to divide my school year into 3 roughly 12-week terms, so 36 total weeks, about 12 weeks, and then that's how I feel like is a good amount of time where I just go back and look and assess, and that's why I do my videos at this time. All right, so I finished my video, and then I forgot that I hadn't included this. So this is what we are doing for art appreciation as a group this year. We are working on Haigasvi, the Renaissance period. Haigasvi is also more of an online program. There's online videos going through art history, talking about the events that were happening around the time of the different artists. We have Da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael. Right now we are learning about Da Vinci, so that has been really interesting. I really like knowing the history around what was happening and what influenced the way that they painted. So Teacher Beth, she'll go through different pieces of art and point out different techniques or different things that happened, like when Leonardo da Vinci was painting next to his master and how his painting was just like so much more full, and he used different types of paints and stuff like that. So that has been really interesting. I would say that this is probably more suited to upper elementary in the style of video. However, the information relayed is totally suitable for middle school. It might seem a little bit young on the young side, the way that she talks and explains things, but it is very interesting and we are getting some really good information about it. So I would go on the upper elementary, lower middle school level, maybe not too old, especially if your kids might find something babyish, but we have enjoyed it, and I am learning a lot from this. Something that I had been looking at, but I didn't pick up until we had started the school year, and I didn't know I was going to pick up this unit. I wanted something short and sweet that would cover like government and elections and stuff because of the time of the year or the year that we are in. And so I heard from Emily Cook at Build Your Library that she had an election 2024 unit study. And this was perfect because it is for younger grades. I would say more of an elementary level, but it has been fine for middle school. And it is a 3-week study. And so that was like, okay, 3 weeks means 6 weeks, 9 weeks for us. Maybe I can get through it before elections. I did not. I got through 2 weeks of this. We can't always read all that it tells us to read. Not that it's a lot, but we just have short attention spans over here. But it worked out pretty perfectly. Okay, so this is what her first week looks like. And so really it's like reading a little bit from 2 books and then some activities. We're doing some of the activities. We're not doing all of the activities. There's some activity sheets back here. But mostly we're reading the books and we're doing some of the activities. But it did work out really well because we finished off week 2. And that was sort of the end of the election part. And then now the last week talks about when the president is coming into office, like the procedures and stuff like that. So it actually worked out exactly right. Like now that we know who the president is, we can imagine what's going to happen going forward. So we actually ended it at the perfect spot. So the 3 books that she uses for this unit are See How They Run, Campaign Dreams, Election Schemes, and the Race to the White House. This has been a really good book. I have learned a lot of things. I am not actually American or a US citizen. I am Canadian still, and I will continue to be Canadian, but I am thinking of getting my citizenship. And so, yeah, I've been here for about 15 years. And so I actually have learned a lot. I don't know a lot about American government and all that. And I actually knew some stuff that people did not know. So we went to an election party and I was like, is it true? Because we were learning about the Electoral College, and I was asking them, is it true that there's a few states that don't give all the college points to one side or the other? They split the Electoral College points, and they didn't even know that. And so I guess it was Maine, and I don't know if it's Kentucky, maybe not Kentucky, but there were 2, and I know Maine was one of them, and it actually the votes I think got split between the Democrat and Republican Party. But I knew something that the people there at the party didn't know. And so we had to look it up. And yeah, so we were talking about that. So we learned about the Electoral College. My kids colored in a map. Like as the votes were coming in, they colored it red or blue. And then I had them write down how many Electoral College votes each state had. And so that was lots of fun. So this book I do recommend. It has a lot of like little known facts, interesting facts, and then just other instances where I just felt like I knew more than a lot of the people in the room after having read this with my kids. And then the next one we have is What's the Big Deal About Elections? This is a smaller book, and we're not through it all yet, but just very succinct facts about elections. And then this one is Madam President, The Extraordinary, True, and Evolving Story of Women in Politics. And this is exactly what it says. So it just talks about different women throughout history who have been involved in politics, just a little history on what they did and what sort of contribution they made. And it kind of follows the story of a girl who wants to be president, and people are telling her, no, you don't need to be president. Like you can be like vice president, or you can be the secretary of something, but maybe not president. So it has a little bit of that story. So it was an interesting time to be reading this. But it's interesting to learn about how women got the right to vote and sort of how different women have been the first in different offices. So those are the 3 books that came with this unit, and we have really enjoyed it, and it's been very good timing. And yeah, I'm glad I picked it up. And I'm glad we're going to keep learning more in the next few weeks about sort of the transition of power and all of that. Originally, I'd been planning on using Guest Hollow's government course. It has government, can't remember what else, and personal finance. And I had that planned out, and I was going to use like the first little bit of that. But I feel like that is a little higher level than my kids are at right now. And so I decided to put sort of a break on that. So I think I will either start on that more as we finish this elections unit, or I will focus more on it next year. I think that's the plan. at this time because I do have one more subject that I want to include in my family group time. And so I'm just waiting for one of these things to fall off, and it's probably going to be that election unit. I want to go through this with my kids. So this is Evolution, the Grand Experiment, Volume 1 by Dr. Carl Werner. So we have not done this yet, but it is basically a textbook, but it is not really heavy on the words. And it just talks about evolution and what is believed about evolution, and then what proof or disproof, proof or non-proof that they have found throughout just looking at different samples around the world of what might have happened. And so I'm interested in going through that. Obviously, this is from a Christian perspective. He did an interview with Leilani from Living with Eve, and he talked about how there's so many errors in the museums and stuff, and how he and his wife went around the world and found like all these mistakes and ways that people were sort of collaborating together to stick to something that they cannot necessarily prove. And so that was really interesting. And it does have a video, so I'm not sure if I'm going to buy that. You can get the streaming video to go along with this, but it just looked really interesting, and it's something I wanted to tackle with my kids before they go out into the world. So hopefully this will be started in term 2, and we'll be able to finish it by the end of the school year. All right, so those are the things that we are doing as a group. What are you doing for your group work? Do you have group work, and what are you enjoying with your kids this school year? I would love to hear it in the comments below. If you like videos like this, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for coming today, and come back in the next week to find out what my 6th and 7th grader are doing, what my 8th grader is doing, and what my 9th grader is doing this term. Thanks for coming, and goodbye, everyone.